are we waiting for?
We scoping the place out, man. We ain't gonna just run up in there. That's how you get shot.
Say that again. You wow. Ooh. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely
You
not.
don't know nothing about no war.
Everybody knows war. Yeah. What it is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Good God, you all.
It ain't you all, it's y'all.
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 Man, you sound like a karate movie. Y'all.
Y'all.
Say it from right here with some soul. Y'all.
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 Let me show your goofy ass how to do this. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Come on, come on.
Yo, Giants fans, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Rush Hour. We got a pretty fun night tonight. Typically, we come in here and we talk about the upcoming game, and we will get to that. But we're also going to talk a little bit about the state of the Giants tonight, and we have special guests joining us, Mark Thompson, who is one of our most dedicated followers of the show, and it's always a pleasure to have him come on here. So first, Truth, what is going on?
What's going on, Mr. Spartan?
Not much. Just obviously a very disappointing loss. But last week, you and I previewed the game. Pretty similar to what we kind of expected, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, low-scoring game.
Right.
It would have been something if you or I predicted the ending, but I don't think anyone could have.
I think we predicted a much softer landing 3-point loss. I did have a 3-point loss, but boy, I could have never, ever imagined that. That was remarkable.
Yeah, it was. It was. So I've seen a lot of football in Giants history. That's got to be up there, top 3 disappointing losses.
Yeah, that's a painful one. And again, it's to the Jets too, right? I mean, we lost to a team that is to some degree, I don't really take them full on as a rival just because we don't play them enough. And there's a lot of overlap there with the fan bases in terms of just, people going to those games together and whatnot. It's not necessarily a town divided, but, we don't play the Jets again until 2020, until 2027. By that point, it would have been 16 years since we had previously beaten the Jets. So that does make things a little bit more painful.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
But it's forgotten, and we're going to move on. But I'm interested to see what Mark has to say about the state of the Giants and what his outlook is.
No, absolutely. And Giants fans, I mean, this is why, even though this is rush hour, we preview the upcoming game. One of the things that I really want to talk about tonight is, despite the Giants, the state of the Giants right now, and looking bad for this year, and another lousy season, regression, everything like that. Truth, I am pretty optimistic about the Giants right now. I actually think that in the long run, we have some assets moving forward that make me feel a little bit more comfortable with the Giants situation compared to how we felt in 2019 and 2021. When we lost all these games, I didn't feel like there was a foundation in place. But, this year's a little bit different. And again, Giants fans, we're bringing on Mark Thompson tonight to talk about this because I know damn well he agrees with me. And more importantly, he's very analytical when it comes to this matter. So without further ado, Mark Thompson, what is going on, my friend?
Good night, guys. Good to see you.
What's going on, Mark?
Yeah. I'm relatively okay. I'm not pessimistic at all. Sometimes you have to go through some growing pains, right? It's not always an upward trend. Sometimes It's like that. So I think that's where we're at. And I like how Shane goes about his business. Seems very focused. He wasn't trying to sell everything at the trade deadline, which means he thinks that he probably has a good foundation, generally speaking, even though the record doesn't show it, or as the case may be. course, we could easily be 4-4. We all know that, but we know that the defense has definitely played. They've just played better with each game. The offense, they haven't put it together, and I'm excited to see going forward with Jones coming back, with maybe the tackles coming back, with Pugh in the lineup at left guard, possibly. I think to see how things, and with a little bit of now trying out new things, like they tried out Paris Campbell. Maybe that hadn't worked out so well. They feel like they've kind of got their three guys like Hyatt and Slayton and Robinson. I mean, it's unfortunate that that Waller is hurt, but we have to go on. That's how it goes. Bellinger is still there, and so I think we'll see how it goes going forward. And Barkley is obviously in better shape than he was a few games ago, right? So that's good.
Yeah, I take it back to this, and this is what I was talking about with Truth before the show started tonight. I think there's 5 most important positions in football, and they're in a tier of their own. Number 1's quarterback. That's I think first and foremost. We'll get to that in just a sec. The next 3, edge, left tackle, cornerback. We have a solid foundation at those positions. Tibbs almost has 10 sacks. That's what I wanted to see out of him for the year. We're just about halfway done the season. I'm very pleased with the way he's coming along. Deonte Banks is having a great rookie year. And by the way, it usually takes cornerbacks a very long time to develop, even the best ones, because they have to adjust to the speed of the game. Deonte Banks playing this good his freshman year, his rookie year, is outstanding to me. I love to see it. And then lastly, at left tackle, we have Andrew Thomas moving forward, right? So even though there's serious problems on the offensive line, having the left tackle spot solidified is way more comforting than if, let's say, we had an elite guard like Quentin Nelson. That's great and all, don't get me wrong, but a left tackle is way more important than guard. The next position I would say is wide receiver, and I do think it is clearly a number 5 out of those top 5 because there's ways around it. If you have 3 very good receivers, you don't need the number 1 receiver as much, and or if you have some elite tight end, that's a little bit less likely, of course. But I think you can get away with a little bit more. But the bottom line is, this doesn't feel like that Giants team I felt like in 2019. Like we were at the end of it with Shermer. We were without talent. We had none of those positions solidified. 2021, same thing. We had Thomas kind of solidified, but couldn't pass rush, couldn't get to the couldn't defend big pass plays. Things are looking up for the New York Giants, and their defense is absolutely terrific right now. That's the one thing I love. But make no mistake about it, I do feel in the offseason an overhaul on offense is going to have to happen. It's going to start with the offensive line. We'll see who they keep back after this year. I hope whoever they do keep, retains their ability to succeed. If they, turn around, Lewinsky's playing a little better, but they still need a few players on offensive line. Quarterback, I'm not going to. I personally don't want to get into any sort of Jones debate tonight. We'll just see what they do. I think that's fine. We'll see what they do. But Mark, yeah, I mean, like in terms of, let's say you were in charge of the Giants this offseason, right? What would be some moves that you would make, or in your opinion, the Giants have to consider in order to take that next step and just solidify the offense? Because we have a playoff caliber defense, that's for sure. How do we get our offense turned around?
Well, that's a good question. I like how you broke it down just now. I mean, that's a good question, but I think even now, we kind of have to see how they go for these next 9 games.
9 games,
because clearly, how the season started is not what they were planning for the offense, right? So let's say we got Thomas back. We JMS has got games under him now. You got hopefully Neil or whoever. We don't know about Neil, right? But let's say he comes out and comes and plays a little bit better. And I think I imagine that Pugh will be playing left guard, and then you've got to decide whether you're going to play Glowinski or Bredesen at right guard. So based on that alone, sounds like it could be a good set of 5 O linemen there. However, they haven't played a lot together, right? So that's the thing. So I know you asked me about in the off season, but I kind of feel like until I kind of see how you do through these 9 games, it's kind of difficult to answer that question because you don't know what you have. You're still not sure what you have at O-line. But let me try to answer your question. We have to get the O-line fix.
Mm-hmm.
I think that those names I called, if they work, that's fine. But we still have a problem with depth, no matter what. So we have to find depth. So yes, I didn't call some of the guys that started earlier in the year, like Izudu and McKesson and so forth. Maybe they're part of the depth. I don't know. But certainly we have to have a decent offensive line. I'm not saying it has to be top 5. I'm not saying even top 8 or whatever, but it's got to be middle of the road. And a good quarterback can navigate that. Whether we need a quarterback, I want to get into that conversation you said. I just don't know. I really absolutely just don't know. And but I suspect that we'll draft one. Especially this crop of quarterbacks here. I think they'll, no matter where we at in the first round, I think we'll be in a position to draft some sort of quarterback. And I guess it kind of depends on the teams that are ahead of us. And we did pick up an extra second round pick, so you never know. If we want to make a move, we could do something, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we want to know the combination of receivers because it's not just the individual receivers. We want to know the combination of receivers. Do they work well together in the play off of one another? So that's important. Slayton's on a 2-year contract. Hyatt is a rookie. Wandell is second year. Hyatt has a lot of promise. He has great hands.
Mm-hmm.
We know about his speed, but he has great hands. He catches the ball really well. And so if he can improve his route running to a top level, he really could be a number 1 receiver in my book. But clearly he's not there, but he could get there. It looks to me like he could, and he seems to have the dedication to want to get there. So to me, we're looking at that. Interestingly, the running back. I mean, they said they weren't shopping Barkley. He's not going anywhere. What does that mean? Have they rebuilt the relationship to the extent that they're saying, okay, we want to have a longer term contract? I mean, yes, we know that he can be franchised again, but he's very important to the team and to the organization, it would seem like to me. And maybe they're going to do some sort of, hopefully he can work something out. So the running back situation is critical and important because whoever is back there running back, right, if Barkley's not out there, they're not respected. And even though Breida is a good back, they still don't respect him. And now, does that mean that I think Breida's pretty good? But the thing is that maybe he didn't have enough playing time even when Barkley was out. That was not the focus. I don't know. But for some reason, no one respects our running game unless Barkley is in the game. And that's major and very important. So I think that even though we're not saying, I think we're going to have to draft a running back that's pretty good at some point in time very soon. I mean, Barkley is not getting any younger. And I don't know if Gray is it. Maybe he comes on, in his second year. But I wouldn't be surprised if we go searching for a pretty good running back. Maybe a third rounder or something of that nature.
I agree with you, Mark. I actually think that the Giants, look, we had Brandon Jacobs. We didn't just draft him the year that Tiki Barber left, right? He was on the team for a couple of years, and then Tiki left, and then Brandon Jacobs went in and did a phenomenal job. Now, I do think one of the things that the Giants should probably look for in a running back, if they went in the 4th round, is somebody who can run downhill and get that yard after initial contact. It's very tough to find a Brandon Jacobs-like player, but one of the things that we are lacking is that ability to get a guy who can, get that forceful yard. And think about it, if we did have somebody along those lines, we could have won 2 games, right? I mean, got stuff. We running wasn't an option really at the goal line against Buffalo, and same thing with the Jets. That's 2 wins right there. Game of inches. And Saquon's not really quite the guy for those kinds of plays. So we could get one to coexist with Saquon for the time being, and that guy turns out to be a baller. I mean, yeah, let him replace Saquon in the long run.
Mhm.
I also do want to say this, Mark. You had a very good point about the wide receivers. Who are the starting three, right? That's what I want to see out there. I want to see the main three guys getting a solidified amount of the snaps, right? Kind of like we did with Cruz and Nix and Manningham. I want that. Now, it's going to be hard to ask for that caliber, but I don't really like the idea of rotating 7 guys at a time. I'm not liking this format very much. So totally agree with what you're saying. Just figure out who those 3 guys are going to be. You know, will we need a wide receiver 1 in the long run that's probably a little bit more talented than the guys we have now? Sure. That's not a 2024 issue, in my opinion. That's a 2025 issue. I think you solidify the offensive line, you get a quarterback, then you can go for wide receivers. There's not really much of a point in having a wide receiver now when the other 2 things aren't in place, because it's a complete waste for the wide receiver. It's a complete waste for the Giants.
Mhm.
Well, I think the only sure thing in right now is solidifying the offensive line. I think a lot of the other positions are wait to see what happens after 9 games. I think injuries are a key factor determining if Jones and Barkley are a long-term solution for the Giants. You can't have a quarterback in concerns of a neck because a hit could end his career. So you have to be prepared to make a move on that. And I'm a Jones supporter. So and Barkley keeps getting hurt. I know he had a good game last week, but can he do that every week? He's getting older, and they didn't trade him, and there was a lot of talk about him being on the trade. A lot of calls calling up about him. So, do they want to give him another franchise tag, or are they going to give him a 2 to 3 year deal? I don't know. I would be shocked if they did that. Shane doing that with Barkley, I would be shocked. But you don't know. So I think it's a lot of wait and see, other than the offensive line.
I agree. Mark, one last question before we transition here and start talking football. And again, start to talk about this upcoming week. And thank you so much for coming on, by the way. Appreciate your insight and your views and everything like that. Again, it is not to disrespect Jones. If the Giants did draft a quarterback in 2024, who's your favorite?
I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm not as sold on Caleb Williams as many people are. At least so it seems. Drake May is kind of nice. There's Knicks. I mean, there's Phoenix. There are quite a few. I mean, there are probably about a good 6 or 7 guys you could be looking at.
And we don't know where the Giants are going to be drafting from.
That's the other thing too.
Hard to tell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they draft someone regardless. I mean, just for the quarterback room, you're talking about Tyrod Taylor. You're gonna have to decide whether you're gonna continue with him. You got Danny DeVito, not Danny DeVito. I keep saying that. Tommy DeVito. I mean,
I wouldn't even put him in the conversation of part of a long-term solution or part of a roster.
I agree. So that's why I'm mentioning his name because the question is exactly that. So that's why I'm thinking you're going to draft someone, because I mean they just brought Matt Barkley onto the practice squad, right? Because clearly they're not so sure about DeVito. I'm actually waiting to see what's going to happen there because yes, he's on the 53. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut from the 53.
Sure.
That would shock me. That would not shock me. And then come back again. I don't know. But I don't know if after you have, this is something I need to find out. If after you have the 3 elevations from the practice squad, can you go back onto the practice squad? I actually don't know. The answer is
I don't know what the rules are there. Yeah,
I wonder about that. I don't know if you can just go back onto the practice squad. But I think they're going to draft somebody, because even if for some reason, let's say Jones lights it up for some reason, you're still going to need a good backup. You're still going to need a good quarterback room. So
Mark, let me ask you a question. Let's paint a scenario. Let's just say these next 9 games, Jones plays fairly well. I'm not saying lights out. Shows durability. Finishes. The Giants finish winning 5 out of the last 9 games. Finished 7-10. And so you still think a quarterback is the first option pick. That could push 7-10, could push him somewhere in the early 10 to 15 slots, I would think. So you think you still have to go for need over best player available?
Oh no. I don't necessarily think that, but I do think you're going to draft a quarterback at some point. So when I say that, I should clarify to say it may not be in the first round, but it could very well be in the first round, because you could decide that you could use your second round pick or second round picks to move up to get someone if you think you like him, because you may say, so Jones may play pretty well, but he may not play to a standard that says, I don't know if he's the guy. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
So then you might say, well, look, I'm going to go and get my guy. So that could happen. I'm not, it could happen. I'm not ruling out Jones. I just don't know with Jones, because sometimes he's just, you think maybe, and then next minute you're not sure. And maybe and in the fact that you're even doing that, maybe that's a problem in itself. But I can't rule him out, because he's the only quarterback that didn't have a 5th-year option picked up, and he's got a second contract. So there you go.
Wow.
Who knows? Yeah. He's the only one. And that Arizona second half was crazy. He was lighting it up.
That's what we wanted, right? And sometimes I feel like the offensive play calling is not hindering. If you can't do it and the Giants don't trust him to do it, then okay, fair enough. But you got to at least sling it to see what you got in him, and that's the one thing I'd like to see different. But,
yeah, it's difficult to say. It's so difficult with O-line play, and then you sometimes you look and you'll say, is he reading low to high? Is he reading high to low? Is he looking for the big play first, or is he just trying to get that first down? And I think the elite quarterbacks are always looking for the big plays. Always.
I'm with you.
So yeah.
So what I think, Spartan, is that when we do our draft show, when we do it and we have the quarterback position, we'll get Mark on.
Mark's coming back for quarterback night. Mark, you in?
We'll get you on and we'll dive into that one. I think that's going to be a heavy subject matter.
Absolutely. Mark, are you in for that? You here for quarterback night?
Yeah, I'm in for that. We had a good conversation about the CBs, right? Remember? We talked about Deontay Banks. Remember that?
Yes, we did.
Go study on those quarterbacks.
All right, Mark, thank you so much for coming through tonight. We really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Have a good one, Mark. Truth. Look, and again, Mark is an excellent fan of the show, but we have had him on a couple of our shows before, and always appreciate his insight and everything like that. So, we'll definitely have him back for quarterback night, because lots to discuss. We said 15 minutes on the state of the Giants, but look at that, 24 minutes. You can't ever talk too much about it, right?
No, of course not.
Real quick, before we get into it, all right, just want to shout out to all the fans. Jay, what's going on? You haven't started mouthing off yet. I want you hurling insults, because that's what we love you for, man. Darius, what's happening? Not a club or bar kind of guy. That's right. Cocktail in the living room. I love it. We got Raiders Nation up in here, man. What the hell is this? Raider Nation take over Jersey Shore this Sunday in Lake Como, New Jersey. Dude,
what's going on?
Vegas. Why would you take over New Jersey? We're playing in Las Vegas this weekend, bro. Nice place, though. Like, okay, I'll give you that. All right. Well, hey, look, Truth, man. Oh, what the hell is this? Oh, he's starting to mouth off already.
What do you say?
Taking the alley home after the Michigan State-Michigan game. Jay, there's going to be an asterisk mark next to that game, brother. Come on now. That game, because Michigan's going to have rescinded wins over the past 3 years, Michigan hasn't officially beaten Michigan State since 2019, so it's all good. All right, truth. We got to get to the topics now. So,
Okay.
Giants Raiders. Disappointing this last week, right?
Oh,
what
yeah,
are your
of course.
thoughts moving into this week for the Giants? What do they have to focus on? Let's just focus on the team themselves. They lost Leonard Williams. That's a locker room, a guy who's pretty positive influence in the locker room, even though, you can say what you want about his play. He did have a pretty good game.
Yeah, he did.
What do the Giants have to focus on this week?
Well, they just got to play football. They have to, listen. We all love watching Giant football, but it is a job for them, and they have to be professionals. I'm sure everyone in that locker room is not happy having a 2-6 record, but they're going to have to just roll up their sleeves, and they got 9 games left, and I really think this is a good matchup for them. And I'll tell you why. Yeah, I'll tell you why. I think the state of the Raiders. They fired their coach, Josh Daniels, as I bet most of the Giant fans know, and former Giant Antonio Pierce is become the interim head coach. So I don't know how that will affect them, their mindset. Will they put a little more effort into it with the shakeup? That remains to be seen. We got Daniel Jones coming back, which is a big plus for me because I'm a big Jones supporter. But, Jones has a dual threat, and I think he's going to have to be limited on that because they don't want him to be running around with his neck.
He can't get hurt. You're right. I mean,
right.
He can't afford the loss.
Right. So I don't see design plays for him like RPOs to run. And if he has to run, and I know Jones, I give him all the credit for his courage, for his toughness. He takes on hits. He actually initiates contact so many times. But he's going to have to play a little Eli here and take a slide and avoid the contact when he has to run and evade the rush. He has to do that. And I think this game, and I'll break it down a little bit, but for them to win, I see a balanced attack. You got to feed a lot of Barkley, the running game, of course, and you got to get a little bit sprinkle of throws in there from Jones. You have to. I think the Giants have an edge in the takeaway giveaway category. They're +6 over Oakland. Over Las Vegas. So I think that's a very important category, and they've done well the last 3 games in that department. And I think the defense needs to continue to shine. They've only given up 11 points per game the last 3 games. So I think that needs to continue for them to have a chance. And I think it's a very good chance to win this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, the Raiders are not a very formidable team, right? They're dealing with their own problems right now. No doubt about it. But I do have to be honest with you, Truth. I mean, one of the things that concerns me is, these incidences don't always work out too well for the Giants. I mean, backup quarterbacks, Dallas here. That was not a good day. I forget the name of the quarterback for Cooper,
right? Cooper Rush.
Torched us, made us look like kids, and then
right.
Coach, I actually go back to another Dallas game, 2010. It was that game that at the Meadowlands, the lights went out. They had a blackout at the Meadowlands. That was another one. They got rid of Wade Phillips and replaced him with Jason Garrett. And I thought we were going to crush them that week, and the Giants didn't. They lost. So I feel like this is a trap, right? Because now the problem is you don't know what to expect. You don't know what Pierce is. Pierce is a smart guy he might shake it up completely, and the Giants aren't going to know what to expect in the first half. And by the way, on the quarterback side, I watched this guy in college. Aiden O'Connell, he's not Tommy DeVito. He's not going to sit there and do 2-yard out passes. He's a good quarterback. He's a talented quarterback. He played very good in the preseason. You and I analyzed him on the quarterback show last year.
I remember.
He is no slouch quarterback. All right? He elevated Purdue. So I will say this. There's no, skip beats there, in my opinion, with Aiden O'Connell back there. The Giants have to be super careful with what they do.
You're right, Spartan. They've had a bad history with backups torching them, making them look like all pros. Absolutely right. And again, this is not an easy game for the Giants. And far be it for me to say that for 2-16, Giants got to come play, and I think the defense is the key to this game. I think the offenses on both teams are going to be like a stalemate. I think they're going to be like a tug of war. No one's really going to win that. I think the defense is going to have to be the key. And I think the Giants overall have a better defense. And if they play like they played the last few weeks, I think they'll win this game.
I agree. I do want to bring up this too. Actually, you know what? Hey, a couple guys have brought this up. Max Crosby, a product
of course,
Eastern Michigan University. I will tell you what I think, and you tell me what your thoughts are. I mean, because obviously the big concern is with our offensive line, how the Giants can protect them. I'll actually say this. There seems to be a tendency with the Giants where it's never the elite, clear-cut guy that dominates against them. It's always somebody you kind of don't expect. Because, I remember Aaron Donald really did anything against us. I'm drawing a complete blank on Micah Parsons does. I'll give him that. All right, Micah Parsons does torch us. But, the Giants are probably going to focus on Max Crosby. They might end up double-teaming him, in which case, some random linebacker you've never heard of is going to have 3 sacks that game. I'm more concerned about that. That seems to be the Giants' way of blowing it. But Max Crosby's having an electric year. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, yeah. Well, he's their primary and their best pass rush. I think he's got 6.5 sacks right now. I think that's what it was when last time I looked. Yes, absolutely. They have to contain him, and I say contain. I don't think they're going to stop him. I think if they can contain him and keep him from dominating, I think it'll obviously be an advantage for the Giants.
Yeah.
So to me, the offensive line needs to just not take a steps back. They need to still, if they can play the way they played the last few games, not spectacular, but not like the Keystone Cops, not clumsy and playing in cement and letting these guys run right by them. Like we've seen that happen early in the season. If they can play respectable, in your face, be adequate in both running and in the pass, it will definitely benefit the Giants.
No doubt whatsoever. Let me bring up, this is one interesting point about the Raiders in terms of their offensive line. They were very good last year. They're not as good this year, but they are a well-coached group. And typically what happens after the end of the season when your coach is already fired is everybody's going to get fired. You're bringing new administration. They're going to call the shots in terms of who they want as coaching. Carmen Brickolo is their offensive Brickolo is their offensive line coach. And I've been eyeing him for a couple months. If he gets fired at the end of the season, which is very likely to happen, I think the Giants have to make a push for this guy. I really do. He's a very good offensive line coach, and he got the Raiders up to the point where they are. And he also did good works with the Patriots, right? So, we talk about having crappy offensive line coach. This dude would be a phenomenal guy to bring in to help try to fix the offensive line for 2024.
Well, I don't know much about him, so I'm definitely taking your word on that. And I agree that the Giants, regardless of the remainder of the season, I think there's going to be changes in the coaching staff. And I know there's going to be changes in the roster as well, but I do believe we're going to see some change in the coaching staff.
Yeah, for sure. And especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, at this point, they probably get rid of Kafka too. Let's tell you what, we got to focus on the game. I forgot. We got to focus.
That's true. We're jumping ahead.
Yes. Real quick,
That's
Giants fans in the group chat. This is the Giants, I believe, the first game they've ever played in the state of Nevada.
It is.
Obviously, first game in Las Vegas. Who's going to the game? I would imagine some guys are making the trip. I know Tuckahoe Tommy on Twitter, he's going to the game. Jay, I know you're in Southern California. You making the trip out there? Anybody else? I don't know. I mean,
isn't license plate guy going?
Who's that? License plate guy?
I thought he was going.
Yeah, he doesn't miss a game. He's been every single Giants away game since 2001, so he's going to be there. So, look, I mean, I would have loved to have gone out to the game. The tickets are always expensive, but, Vegas, I mean, I do love the city of Las Vegas. It is a fun time. This is one trip where it's like, even the Giants suck, which they do. Still be a blast to go out there and see this game. So, a little surprised. No, Jay's not going. Well. Jay, it's like $700 a ticket. That is crazy.
Wow.
Wow. Well, you know what you do? You fly out to Vegas, you buy a ticket, you bet $700 on the Raiders to win, and $100 back, and that's just it, man. So
You get your money back. Okay.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, Vegas is not a cheap city. I mean, you usually blow through $1,000 in a single day. So, but yeah, no, I mean, look, the Giants have to focus on making adjustments, in my opinion, after the first half. It's going to be a bit of a whirlwind trying to figure out what O'Connell and Antonio Pierce will throw at the Giants. Don't take them lightly just because they are a new team, or it's a new administration.
Right.
But I also feel like on offense, here's a chance to kind of take a little bit of a shot with Jones. Don't run him, but throw deep. The season's already a little bit over. Just sling it out there a little bit more. I want to see less conservative football.
Absolutely. That's why Hyatt's got to get lots of snaps and be part of the offensive game plan. I believe the last game against Jets, did they throw to him? I don't remember hearing his name.
I thought he had one target. I could be wrong.
Oh, one target. Okay. You can't have that. And that's happened a couple of times this year with Hyatt.
Yeah.
You can't have that. You got to have him involved, and you still got Slayton here. So let's see what he can do. Get him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get some vertical and let's see what happens. Worst scenario, they intercept it. Maybe we get lucky and there's an interference, pass interference. So, take chances. You have to do that. I think you have to do that. And I think they're going to do that, Spartan. I think they're going to do that with Jones. Let him stretch the field a little bit. Both these teams are both in the bottom of the league in red zone. So we could see another score like it did the Jet game. Both are hitting around 33% in red zones, and then we got the Giants with their kicking situation. I haven't heard anything new about Cano, so I guess he's going to play. So his knee must be good enough to kick again. So
look, it better be. But if they continue losing games by small margins of points, and this dude misses field goals, I mean, this is troubling. This one's on Dable, just in terms of decision making.
Exactly, and that was my point after the game. If Cano was questionable, he must have convinced the Giants, or they must have felt comfortable with him not making him inactive for that game. But clearly, we all know how good Cano is, and he really did not look very good on those kicks. He really didn't look good, pulling both of them. So that could be a big factor. The Giants' kicking game, special teams, that's another thing that's been very weak. So this game boiled down to field position and the defensive stops the Giants or the Raiders can make. I think it's going to be another low-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I think it's funny. I mean, you bring up a good point. Like the Giants' special team sucks. Gano made an extra point though, so great. The Giants' special team sucks, but truth, never really had a bad field goal kicker. I don't remember any situation where the Giants' field goal kicker was weighing us down. A punt team, forget about it. Terrible. Punt return team. Oh, we have to have the worst in the history of the NFL. But field goal kickers get the job done for the Giants. So to have Gano out there shanking, and he's a reliable kicker too.
Yeah.
What's going on out there? Well, he's hurt, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that explains it. Never mind. Question's no longer valid. But, it is frustrating to leave points on the table. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Who's one player that you want to see ball out from the Giants that hasn't really gotten his chance to this year?
Well, obviously you can see a lot of guys on the offensive side. I definitely want to see the two guys like Hyatt and Robinson get a lot of play. And because of Waller not being playing, I like to see Bellinger. He's like the forgotten guy. And if teams focus on Hyde and Slayton and Robinson, very quietly, Bellinger could just go out and look for a little opening, and he can chunk up, get a lot of yards and catches, just by them ignoring him. So
Agreed.
there's a guy you might want to look at that could have a surprise game for the Giants offensively, maybe get a touchdown.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the red zone.
Yes. Yeah. Please. Can we please get a touchdown? I mean, this is the bottom line. Someone set it up above. Like, if there's one, like, the bottom line is this team is not scoring enough points right now to even put ourselves in a position to win ball games. So, just sling it. Just give it a shot at this point. I don't care anymore. I don't care if we turn the ball over 5 times and get demolished. Just give it a shot.
And I'll be honest with you. The Giants are like on the 40-yard line of the Raiders 40-yard line, and there's 4th and 1. Go for it.
Go for it. Screw it. Who
Go
cares?
for it. Please, Dable.
Push.
Go for it.
Go for it. Enough of the soft crap. This wasn't Dable last year.
Nothing to lose now. Go for it.
Go for it. Go for it on 4th and 15 at the
maybe not that, but but I like to see that. I like to see that.
But all right, Truth. Final score predictions. Ready, go.
Well, like I said, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think both offenses are going to have their struggles. We don't know about the timing of Jones because, he's going to be hopefully throwing the ball a little more, not running. I think the Giants' defense is going to curtail the Raiders. And I know O'Connell's a good young player, but I think the Giants could put that pressure on him. I think it's going to rattle him a little bit. I think a low-scoring game. I don't know what the over and under in this game. It's got to be under 40 points. So I would definitely take that as a safe bet. I would definitely say the score is going to be somewhere around, boy, I hate doing this. Giants 20, Raiders 16 or 13, 20 to 13, 20 to 16, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm going
the spread right now is 3.5 points, and they have the over under at 37.5. My final score prediction is 23 Raiders. I feel like as good as our defense is, they're very good. It's just I have this bad feeling we're going to give up a touchdown at some point. I do feel like it's inevitable, especially early on, and they don't expect that of Aiden O'Connell. And again, I just don't trust this Giants offense right now to score enough points. So I think it's going to be final score 23 Raiders. I'm going to go with 16 Giants.
So we're pretty close, but it's reversed. Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
All right, Drew, final thoughts for the game before we head off here for the evening.
Well, I will say this. I think it's very imperative the Giants come out strong and make a statement, whether they have the ball or whether they're defending. I think that could set the tone. So my final thing is the Giants got to show passion, urgency, and for the coaching staff, show some carrot balls. Go for it on 4th and 1 as many times. Depends who you're on the field, as many times as possible. Nothing to lose, guys.
Play
Go for
it. Freaking guts, will you? Just
that's
please.
Right. Go for it.
God. All right, Truth. Hey, another great episode of the show. Thank you to all the fans that came on tonight. Hopefully, Giants have a turnaround in Vegas this weekend. And to anybody going to the game, enjoy the game. Enjoy Las Vegas. It's a great place. Not to take your family, but it's a good place. All right, take care, guys.
All right, guys, take care.